Hello and welcome to the final and last episode of Season 1 of Modern Morenx podcast.
If you can't tell, we're all together for the very first time. Very exciting.
So exciting.
So today we will be answering questions that you, our listeners, have sent in for your friends. So, before we get started, make sure to rate us and like us.
Like us.
Leave a review and
5 stars.
follow us on Instagram at Modern Morenx. We love to engage with all of you. We love talking to you. And yeah,
Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first question or topic is addressing toxic Filipino culture.
Ooh.
I'll just slide that over. Where do you even start?
Where do you even start? I feel like it depends on what generation you are. So it
Yeah.
depends on if your own parents immigrated or if their parents. Like, I'm a second generation, and I'm sure I have a different experience than first generation. Like, I think your parents. Yeah, so I feel like mine are a little bit more lenient and more Americanized, but
yeah.
they still have those lingering beliefs of suppressing the creative side of their children because it doesn't make money.
That's so interesting because I feel like so many like Filipinos are just naturally creative.
So
You know what I mean?
know,
Just,
we
like,
are-
artistic.
Yeah, we have a podcast.
Yeah.
We have a podcast. We can sing. We can dance.
Yeah, we
Some
can
of us.
We can see.
You want to see it?
That's so true.
yeah.
It's always suppressed because that's not what makes money.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes I think about that and I'm like, I can't blame them because they were living in different circumstances with me, like compared to me, whereas like they needed to like survive and
Yeah.
they felt like they needed to like work in a certain field to get money so they could leave their current situation and like move to America. So it's different. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that it's right for us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I just don't think that they grew up with that type of like mentality and thinking, like reflective thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always like go, go, go. Like I need to survive, not really experience.
Exactly. Like you have your passions. Like I was having a conversation with my mom and she was like, she really wanted to be a teacher, but she couldn't pursue it, or she felt like she couldn't pursue it because it wouldn't give her like as much money or like make her like give her like a pass to like immigrate to America, whereas like nursing did.
Yeah.
And so it was like that stability, but we're fortunate enough to have that now.
Yeah.
But also like I've had this conversation with my mom. It's like it doesn't mean that I have to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like we're blessed enough to be in that position where I could like pursue whatever I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think another thing about toxic Filipino culture that I don't really like is the loyalty to the male species. Like, why is it okay for males to cheat on women and they're just expected to like wait at home? And like, you know, divorce is like not acceptable
It's
in many
taboo.
cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very taboo. Yeah, I just don't like that about Filipino culture.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like, on top of divorce being taboo, even like that crab mentality of you don't want to see others succeed, like you want to drag everyone back into the pot.
All right.
I think that's a big part of Filipino culture, unfortunately.
that and like comparisons too, like everything is all about comparing like what your kid is doing with what someone else's kid is doing. And I think sometimes when they hear about what other parents are doing, they like retract and they kind of want their kids to be doing the same instead of just being like, my kids are different and I'm accepting them. They're kind of like, oh, maybe I should tell them to do this, or maybe I should pull them back, just kind of like what you said.
Yeah.
And they don't like think about how they're just trying to break that generational like trauma that they went through, you know, like they want to change, but then they hear everyone else talk about it and they're like, maybe like I should stay in it still. And I think that's very toxic.
What do you think is the most toxic aspect or experience that you've had being a Filipino American?
I think the most toxic one for me is the emphasis on appearance and how you look to other people, no matter what, like, what you're feeling, what you're going through. You just always had to look good. You always had to have the nicest things, which, by the way, is how you get in debt. So, no thank you. You know, the Louis bags or Mercedes, like,
It don't matter.
It like
Really
somehow
doesn't.
became part of, like, Filipino culture to have these things that don't matter.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the worst part, because a lot of the times we find ourselves comparing ourselves to other people, or like we're just not focused on the right things. We're focused on everything else but ourselves.
I think, like, for me, is like the unrealistic beauty expectations. Like, you touched on that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't think I've ever gone a visit to, like, my family without somebody mentioning, like, my appearance. Like, saying, like, talking about weight, talking about, like, something, like, oh, you're so beautiful. Whether it be, like, a compliment or not, like, I don't think that it's, like, something that should be expected. Like, you shouldn't feel the need to comment about somebody's appearance.
Yeah.
Regardless. Like, if I, like, showed up in my pajamas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah. And I think it's because we don't, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like the Filipino culture, sometimes there's just a missing, like, emotional bond between everybody. So sometimes it's, like, very superficial, like, oh, you look good today, like, something like that. Like, that's the only way that they know how to connect with you.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's what I feel is the most toxic part of Filipino culture sometimes. Just the fact that you can't really have these genuine bonds all the time.
Yeah.
But I know it depends on the family and the, you know, your love languages.
But for the most part,
It's great.
yeah.
I think for me is like the whole idea of like perfection and how they like kind of put that on you. Like they say, well, I had to do this, so you know they add what they had to do to what you have to do, and sometimes like you know they don't see that what you're going through is definitely different, and they just think like just because you're an American or you're American born, you have everything easy, right? Like everything's easy, like jobs is easy, career is easy, like everything's easy. Like you don't know how to survive, like you don't know this.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I do know, and I'm learning it through different terms. And instead of you just like trying to like, I don't want to discredit what you went through.
Right.
But instead of just like teaching it and being more genuine about it, they're kind of like, well, you don't know. And it's like,
Right.
you know, like you're like, wow, well now you're just making me feel bad. And I think that's why a lot of kids don't talk to their parents about that kind of stuff, or they don't want to be open about that stuff because they know that it's just going to be like, well, you don't know what I went through.
Right,
and, like,
right.
what you are going through is nothing.
Right. It's
Oh,
like
is
very
it nothing?
invalidating.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
your life is easy.
Yeah.
Like, don't complain.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, do you know how tough it is right now?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I'm not trying to compare your tough with my tough, but it's like, things are different, and you should be more open to like understanding where I come from, because I feel like that's another thing. It's like when you try to tell them, well, you know this, they're like, oh, you are so disrespectful, you don't know, why are you talking?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, then you don't want to talk anymore, like you're like, whatever. I just think that's like an experience, or overarching experiences, just not being validated for what you're going through because it's not the same as them.
Have y'all ever experienced those like confrontational conversations with like either your parents or your loved ones, like addressing their toxicity?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
First word, they're like, no.
Oh, I've tried to have conversations so many times, but they just make me feel like I'm being so irrational, like
And disrespectful.
Right.
and that I'm just like pulling shit out of my asshole.
Yeah.
Like no,
Yeah.
Oh
like
my
why
God.
is it so offensive? Like why are my feelings so offensive? Like why can't you just listen to me? It's
Yeah.
so annoying.
And I think it's just like that because they weren't able to prioritize their emotions
Right.
in their circumstances. Like
Yeah.
they had to just put it aside and just work.
And like what Dree said with like, I call this like they think that you're pulling it out of your ass. Or also like, I was like psychology major, so they're like, oh, so you think you're a psychologist and you know what I'm going through? I'm like, really?
Oh
Like,
my gosh. If I had
really?
$1 for every time.
Oh my god.
But first of all, we are more self-aware.
Yeah,
So, you know.
The
like,
awareness is
sorry.
higher.
Yeah.
so I'm calling you out.
Oh god.
It's like they want you to get an education, and then when you use that education, they're like, what?
They're like, where are you coming from?
They're like,
What do
whoa,
you know?
you don't know everything.
Yeah, they're like,
know.
why are you attacking me? Like, you wanted me to go to school and do this, and now I have the knowledge, and now you don't like it?
Yeah.
They pay my loans.
Make it make
Do
sense.
something. It makes sense.
I've been told, they're like, what are you even learning in school? I'm just like, at least I went. Like, good. Like, good. Yeah, like, I'm fortunate enough. And then, like, all of my accomplishments are, like, sometimes used to either, like, for them to gloat about me, or just sometimes they just discredit it. They're like, what were you even studying? I'm like, what is it? Like,
Yep.
But I learned just not to care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how sad it is.
Yeah.
There are moments when I do care, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate it here.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
yeah, try not to care.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, choosing your battles and, like,
Yeah.
the timing of things. Like, I've had, like, a handful of experiences where I was able to, like, talk to either, like, my mom or my dad, like, and just, like, have a heart-to-heart and tell them about, like, how I'm feeling and how they're making me feel. And I've had those conversations, too, where it's, like, very one-sided, where it's, like, the stubbornness, like, comes out and I realize where it's coming from. Like,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, like, picking your battles.
Yeah.
But also, like, acknowledging, like, sometimes it's just, like, what they just know. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
their initial reaction. And so, like, with time, hopefully, like, they'll just learn to ease up on that and, like, be more open-minded.
Yeah.
But, again, it comes, like, with those intentional conversations, too.
Yeah.
So just planting the seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think also realizing that our families aren't perfect. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
they're human too.
Yeah.
And eventually they'll become self-aware, or maybe they'll never be.
Yeah.
Who knows? We just gotta try
Live
and
life.
live life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love our families because they worked really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my mom had my brother when she was 21, but I don't know what I would do if I had a kid
Yeah.
at 21.
Yeah.
But then also going back to what Shei said, like picking and choosing your battles. And so I do that personally. Like, I just like to be quiet because I know, I just don't want to argue. But then it's taken as, oh, you have your guard up. Like, I can't talk to you. And I'm like, I tried talking to you so many times.
What do
and
you want?
You just were not listening. You were not receiving me well. So
Yeah.
I'm just not going to try again. And then what were you talking about, Steph?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I was going to comment on it too.
Just the fact that our parents aren't perfect. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the thing with that is that, like, we talked about it earlier, that they grew up where everything needed to be perfect. They have this, like,
Yeah.
perfectionism mindset, and I feel like we're all trying to unlearn it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we definitely, like, project that as well, and then they take it personally, but then it's also like, but you taught me this.
Yeah.
Like, you taught me that I always had to be perfect, and now
Yeah.
I'm trying, and now you're getting mad at me for it. So it's just that balance is just so hard to find. So hard to find.
Yeah.
So for the next question is, how do I start dating? I'm shy as hell. LOL. I mean, same. Should I?
Tell us more.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Tell us
since
more.
I am the only person here that's single,
And ready to
great.
mingle.
Yeah, either ready to mingle or just like I'm not down for the bullshit. I think, like, how do you start dating? Ooh, okay. I just don't.
She needs tips too.
Yeah, I need tips too. But I think, like, I don't know where I'm at with this whole, like, where I am in life, and I don't want to, like, say, like, oh, my whole dating experience, because it's like my outlook on dating is just that it'll come to me when I'm ready. And right now I just don't feel ready at all. Like, I'm so focused on, like, myself and being a better person for myself that, like, eventually something will come where, like, they're attracted to, like, what I have to offer, and then, like, we have, like, reciprocal, like, goals and, like, efforts and, like, but that's, like, a perfect world.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right. It'll happen.
Yeah, and I also, like, acknowledge that I am, like, I'm dating, or I'm going to be dating, like, in my mid-20s, so it's, like, so different than, like, when I was dating in, like, early 20s, like, the ballpark has definitely shifted, especially, like, with the the creation of like dating apps and like all those type of things. So many hurdles to like finding a real genuine connection, I feel.
Yeah.
So right now I just feel like, why even waste my time when I could just be like putting all those efforts into like nourishing myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think after you're able to feel content with where you're at personally, then you can focus on, you know, shooting into someo's DMs. Like, just say, hey, I like your shoes. Where'd you get them? Or, I don't know.
I don't know
either. You just gotta strike up the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, my friend, she does this thing where, like, people are wearing, like, sweaters or flannels in clubs, and she, like, touches it. She's like, oh, aren't you hot in this? Isn't this hot for you? and she already has, like, physical contact going on.
That's a good one.
But I feel like, I don't know, just not being afraid. Just fucking do it. I mean, understanding that the worst thing someone can say is no.
Yeah.
I mean, like, rejection might be inevitable for some of us or all of us, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you should always value yourself and don't lower your standards because you think that will help you get that person. You know, like, no, keep your standards high and the right person will have those standards and even higher.
That's so true. So true. So if we are to give this individual 3 main steps to how to start dating, what would we say? Step 1.
I would say step 1, like, know what you want. Like, know what you want, like, for yourself. Know what you want for your future. You know, those are very important factors. And obviously, these are, like, things that I'm considering as, like, a 25, 26-year-old. And that not be, the same for, like, somebody, like, 17.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we all have, like, different opinions for that. But, like, right now where I am is just, like, knowing yourself and knowing what you want out of your relationship. Because it's, like, everything in my life right now has to be intentional. You know? Like, everything is, like, pivotal because I'm in, like, my mid-20s. So it's, like, everything is kind of, like, ever-changing and developing. That's where I'm at. And so I either want somebody who's, like, on that same journey or, like, later on down the road, like, has found, like, their next step and is, like, willing to grow with me. Throughout the next couple years or so, hopefully.
So knowing what you want, step 1. Step 2.
Step 2, I think, like, not being afraid of rejection. And that's something that I'm trying to figure out because, I mean, like, I don't know, I've never really been single. So, like, the last time I was single was, like, in middle school. And so, ever since then, I've been, like, either, like, having somebody give me that attention or, like, talking to somebody. Whatever the case may be, like, this is, like, the first time I'm ever, like, really truly by myself. And so, like, with that is going to be, like, that whole dating experience where I have to be okay with, like, rejection. And I've had, like, to face those, like, tough lessons of rejection, like, in other circumstances, like my academics or, like, careers, like, all of those type of things. But it's different when it comes to dating. You know, what do you guys think, like, about rejection and dating?
I mean, it's more emotional, that's why. Like, you take it, inevitably, you're going to take it personally because you're like, oh, what about me? But I think that's why step 1 is very important, to know what you want.
Exactly.
And have faith in yourself, because that way the rejection will hurt a little less. You know, it's like, well, I'm bad, so whatever.
Exactly. Like, I have this and this and this together. Like, I know what I want. If you can't offer me that, then, like, all right, that's fine.
Like, it is
let
what
me
it
move
is.
on.
Yeah. And then step 3.
Okay, step 3. I would say it's just, like, I don't know, it's kind of synonymous with, like, being okay with failure and rejection is just, like, shooting your shot.
Yeah. Just slide in the DM.
Yeah.
Do it.
Just be that confident girl that you've, like, confident bitch, like, whether whatever you, that, like, you've built yourself up to be, you know? Like, you know that you deserve the best and you're not going to settle for anything less than that, you know? Like, obviously, like, when it comes to a relationship, and I'm sure, like, we can all speak to this, is, like, there's going to be compromise. There's going to be, like, times where you're going to, like, have to, like, hash things out and, like, try to see eye to eye. But, like, when it comes to, like, your standards, you shouldn't be accepting of the bare minimum.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think, like, so many people are comfortable with, like, feeling like, oh, I'm getting, like, attention from this person. Like, they're just DMing me, like, giving me all all these compliments, but at the end of the day, like, what is that going to give you? You know,
Nothing.
Exactly.
Attention is not love.
Yeah, attention is not love. And that's what I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Do not get sweet talked by these people out here.
No.
They call you beautiful, amazing, because you know what you are.
Because you are. Like, tell me something I don't know.
They didn't discover something new.
Exactly.
Hello. I feel like another step though, like an extra one, would be first to date yourself. So date yourself just to figure out, like, going back to, like, you know, like, what do you like? How do you want to be treated? Yeah.
Because no one's going to treat you better than yourself, ultimately, you know? Like, regardless if you have a partner or if you don't, like, you should always be, like, your biggest, like, your best friend, like, your own best friend, like, your biggest advocate, like, somebody who's, like, there for you, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And with timing, you know, follow those 3 or 4 steps, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, you'll find the person.
Yeah, thank us later. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I know.
The next question is, how can I love myself better and the others around me? Well, first off, you can't love other people without loving yourself, because how do you know what love is if you don't love yourself? So I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah. I mean, once you love yourself, then you're able to see ways that other people want to be loved, and you can pay attention to those signs. You know, the 5 love languages, you can pay attention to, they enjoy quality time, they enjoy gifts, they enjoy touch. Read up on it. 5 love languages.
Not sponsored.
I wish.
I would say that it's like, just know that it's a whole, show up for the processes over there, but it's a whole process. And it's not going to be just super, like, one, like, unidirectional. I feel like everyone has a different way of showing love, and other people accept love differently, so you have to be open to that too, and trying to respect, like, how people, like, want you to show their love, or how you, like, tailor it to different kind of people, because, you know, like, everyone's different. And I think how you love yourself is just, like, growth through different processes that you go through, you know? Like, not everything is going to be easy. Not everything is going to just, like, be in your face of, like, oh, this is, like, what love is, you know? Like we've said from the beginning, you gotta...
Let love in!
Yes!
There we go.
Thank you, Shei. So, yeah. You know, you have to do that first, but also for yourself, not only for others. Because sometimes you tend to maybe forget yourself, and you're just like, oh, like, I'm just going to give love to everybody. But if you don't do that for yourself, then you might not be reciprocating as you think.
I have this question that I want to pose to you all. So do you think it's true that you cannot love other people before loving yourself?
Yes.
Can I ask why?
I'm like the first one that's like, yes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's such a deep question. Like, there's so many layers to it, but unless you love yourself, you're not going to know how to provide love to other people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, in the process of loving yourself, you'll learn how to love others.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge that, like, just because, like, you're on that path and you aren't, like, 100%, like, self-confident or, like you're in that process of finding yourself, like, it doesn't mean that you're not worthy of love, like, receiving love from other people too, you know? Like, I think it's important to know that even though you're on that journey of, like, self-discovery, that, like, you can also be, like, letting love in, like what Jamie said, you know? And, like, by letting love in, you're just, like, acknowledging that you need that for yourself too.
I feel like the opposite. I feel like you could love other people without loving yourself first, because you're giving other people you're giving other people the love you want for yourself, but you're just, like, not realizing it. And so you feel good about the love you're giving out because it's the love that you want for yourself.
Totally.
And so, yeah, I do feel like you can love other people without loving yourself first. Although it's not ideal, it's not something I recommend, because eventually you wake up one day, you're like,
Like,
fuck.
hey.
You're like,
Yeah.
you're like, wait, I've been giving this all of it away, and I
Yeah.
haven't been giving it to
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, yeah, and I
So.
think it gets messy too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
if
yeah.
you don't know how to love yourself, but you're loving everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, how will you know when to stop and when to respect yourself too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like boundaries.
Yeah,
Tricky.
yeah. Yeah, because then it's not like you can take everything away. Like, oh shit, like I regret doing all of this
Yeah.
because I could have done it for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
One of our next questions is what to do when a friend gets a significant other and goes MIA.
Okay, if your friend gets a significant other and goes MIA, let them. Just let them. They're gonna come back to you eventually when they realize they
Eventually.
fucked up. Like,
Eventually.
let
That's true.
them be lost in the sauce. It's fine.
It better be good sauce.
First of all,
I know.
yeah, it better be good
Gotta be
sauce.
worth it.
Even if it's not, they just showed you that they didn't value you as much as they did their partner. So, I mean, like, it's that saying, like, just let people do what they want so they can show you what they'd rather do. So, I mean, like, if they want to hang out with their significant other more than you, then let them. Their actions are speaking for them.
Yeah.
I think for me though, I'm drawing the line if that friend starts to lie about where they're
Ugh.
what they're doing.
Oh
and
my
where
gosh. Yeah.
Like, I think
Yeah.
that's the only time that I'll be like, ooh, girl,
Like,
Yeah.
why?
why?
Or boy.
Just tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, girl, or ooh, boy. Or they.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, like, just tell us. It's okay. Don't
Yeah.
be ashamed.
Yeah, but then it's also you question, like, what is going on in that relationship where you feel like you have to
yeah,
hide
so you have
stuff.
to hide it. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a little worrisome.
So yeah, let it pass. Let them trust you.
Yeah.
They'll come back.
Yeah, they always come back.
What if, like, you've now realized that you've only been, like, reliant and, like, codependent on your significant other and you just want to change that habit? How would you go about that change? I feel like the first step would be acknowledging, obviously, like, identifying and making that effort to be like, you know what, like, I really messed up. I kind of put a pause on all of my other relationships and now look where it got me. So, like, what are the next steps to that?
That's good.
I mean, I would just see how your partner receives it, and if they don't receive it well, then you know you're not with the right person.
Yeah.
Oh, like
Because
self-isolation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like relationships are forever changing and
Yeah.
evolving because the people in it are also. So
Yeah.
it's like, is that person going to support you or are they not?
True. Yeah.
And it's like, do you want to be with someone that
Yeah.
doesn't support you? Like, no.
I
Right.
totally didn't even like think about that perspective. It's like what if I were in the place where yes, I acknowledge that I've lost friends because of my relationship. Do I just automatically go to those friends, or like it should be a conversation with my partner too? Like, hey, I've noticed that like since we've started dating or talking, whatever the case may be, like we haven't been talking to our friends or like hanging out with our friends. Like, how can we change that? And like you said, like if it's well received, then you know like you can grow from this. It could be like a lesson, but if it goes the opposite direction, then it should definitely be a red flag.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's almost dangerous.
Yeah, people are manipulative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
manipulative.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
they really are because they're projecting all of their traumas and insecurities onto you because
Exactly.
you know, like some people will take it because they don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
they don't even know any different. Like, let's
Yeah,
say this is
exactly.
your first ever relationship and your significant other is, like, super jealous. They don't
Yeah.
want you to have time with, like, your friends or,
Yeah.
like, your family, your loved ones. And you're like, okay, this is what a relationship is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
You
just
know?
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And also, everyone views love differently,
Mm-hmm.
so their perception of love might be an unhealthy or toxic
Right.
to the normal person.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And they might not know that. They might be like, no, I'm your one and only. First of all, you can't be someone's everything. Nobody can be your everything. Let's just get it straight.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
not one person's gonna fulfill your every need, every desire, every want. And your partner or partners are allowed to have lives outside of you.
And I think that's how they last longer too. When
Yeah.
you're able to have your life outside of the relationship, you're able to grow at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just coexist. I
Yeah.
think that's true love,
Yeah,
coexisting.
coexistence. And acceptance.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I want that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So next question is, what to do if someone is gaslighting you, but not on purpose? Do you think it is intentional?
Not on purpose.
No, I don't think. I mean, I feel like what we talked about earlier, they might not know what a healthy relationship is. Like, personally, for me, with my family, like, there were never any boundaries. So, like, as an adult, I'm trying to, like, learn how to build those, what they are, and not take them personally. So I feel like, I have been in that position where I was gaslighting people that were close to me, but I didn't mean it. I thought that it was like I'm just showing you love. Like, why is it ill-received if I'm just loving you as hard as I can? But, no, you gotta respect boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I think that even applies to loving yourself and loving others. Respect their boundaries, too. I feel like boundaries apply everywhere. And if someone is gaslighting you, you just gotta be like, look, I don't think that's the right perception. I mean, in my opinion, this is my truth. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're probably gaslighting you because they, like, think wholeheartedly, like, their perception of a situation is, like, the ultimatum. You know, they would rather, like, have that than, like, know all sides, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
Or you could be like Khloe Kardashian and just be like, liar! Like, I don't know what I would do if in the moment I was like, oh, you're gaslighting me. Like, what do you do in that situation?
Other than acknowledging it?
You could acknowledge it and then, like, also, like, take that extra step. Like, okay, first of all, let's define the relationship you have with the other person. Like, how important are they to you? Like, do you really love them? Do they love you? And, like, if they're worth the effort to take that extra step to understand them, then I would. Like, where is this coming from? Like, what traumas did they go through? Like, why do you think this is happening? But, like, if they're not worth it, they're not worth it. Don't stick around because you want attention.
For
No,
sure.
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
One of our last questions is how to heal family/friend tension from past issues and the right time to have a constructive conversation.
Ooh.
And then a conversation.
That's loaded.
Yeah,
It
someone go
depends.
first.
It depends.
It does depend, yeah.
That's the only answer.
Yeah. It's like some, like we said before, some battles are worth fighting.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, other people's decisions, other people's morals, values, and stuff, like, I think it's important to understand that, like, we just have different perspectives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even though we're family, or, like, that we're friends, like, you can either, like, choose to move past that or, like, choose to move on from the relationship.
Grow apart. Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes that's just what you need, you know?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you
yeah.
just don't even need that type of, like, closure, that type of friend and relationship.
Yeah,
Because
sometimes you
it's
don't
like,
need
if
closure.
it's
Yeah.
not fruitful for you, if it's not, like, giving you happiness, and if you feel, like, negative energy coming from that person, there's no need for you to hold on so tight.
Yeah.
Regardless of, like, if they're family or friends.
Or how long you've known them.
Yeah, or how
Time
long.
does not
Oh,
matter.
yeah.
It does not matter.
Yeah. I agree.
But I feel like if you do care about this person and, like, you do want them in your life and they have shown value, I feel like the sooner the better, because I've been in a situation where I held on to my own feelings, and so I started to resent the person.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
though,
just
like,
bottles up.
yeah, like, they didn't know anything was going on in my head, but there was a lot of things, but I kept it in because I was like, no, I love this person. Like, I'm just not going to try to ruin anything.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's going to build up, and you're going to end up resenting them. So just let it out.
Yeah.
And then, like, again, their reaction is going to tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think also, like how the question is phrased, I feel like sometimes you just have to figure out how to heal it from yourself, because sometimes that person or group of people or whatever will not be open to ending that or changing that. So sometimes you just have to recognize that issue, and if you see that it's just apparent all the time, maybe it's just something that you have to heal for yourself and find the right time to step away from that. Because sometimes that conversation might not even be constructive. Like, that person's just gonna listen to it and then like go out the other way. So sometimes you, like, you know, when you have that conversation, recognize, okay, well, it seems like it's not going anywhere, so maybe I just have to deal with it myself and move forward and change that for me.
Yeah.
Pick and choose your battles. That's really it.
Yeah. And space does wonders.
Oof.
Don't be afraid to give some space or have some space for yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, like, if the other person is okay with it and, like, loves you, then they'll be okay with it. They'll understand.
Exactly.
So, you know, take care of yourself first.
And those who matter don't mind.
Yeah.
Isn't that a quote by Dr. Seuss?
Is it?
Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Green eggs and ham.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
I mean, those are all the questions that we chose to talk about from our friends and our listeners. So thanks so much for those of you who let us know of what questions you wanted us to answer.
So we're going to pick some cards from We're Not Really Strangers. And so the first question is, if there was ever a moment, when did you realize you were not invincible?
So for me, the moment that I realized that I wasn't invincible was when I almost flunked out of college. Keyword almost. Almost. I got that letter saying that, like, you know, your GPA is too low. And that's when, unfortunately, that's when it kicked in, like, reality kicked in for me, because for the longest time, I was just avoiding reality. And I was telling myself, you know, if you don't see it, if you don't see your grades, it's not really happening. Like, you're still, like, happy in your little, like, euphoria moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, there's going to be a time where you're just going to have to face your problems head on, look yourself in the mirror, and, like, realize that, like, exactly, you could do better. You know, like, you deserve better, you want better for yourself. And that's where the change happens, when you really, truly believe that you want better for yourself, and so you're just going to act on it.
Yeah.
And so after getting that notification, I switched up my whole life. I said, like, you know what, I can't just sit here and pretend like everything's okay. And so I sought help. I changed my circle. I studied more. I was taking more accountability for myself. And then I turned a whole 180. I made the dean's list every semester since then. Ooh. I became president of, like, a club that we were all a part of.
Comeback queen.
Yes. Exactly, the greatest comeback. And that's when, like, it hit me, you know, like, I'm not only, like, I'm not invincible, but I also, like, am so hardworking, and I'm so passionate. If I really want to get somewhere in life, I can do it.
Ooh.
You know?
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
This is level 2, connection. What is a dream you've let go of?
I want to cry.
Wow, everyone was like...
I think a dream I've let go of is finding the perfect partner that will last for a lifetime. Because, you know, not everything is permanent, whether it be because you grow apart or because, like, death. Like, things just end, and it has nothing to do with you. Again, like, you as an individual and others are forever growing and changing. So, like, your needs and wants are also evolving too. And so, you know, if your wants and needs do not, what is that word? Line up anymore.
Align.
It is, align with each other anymore. It is what it is. And, you know, life goes on. There's more people out there.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, it's not just one true love anymore.
And, like, I think for me, too, just adding on to that, like, learning that your love life isn't your life. Like, it's not, it doesn't make who you are. It doesn't define you.
Right.
Regardless of, like, status or anything like that, you know? Like, you and yourself, like, that comes first. The relationship you have with yourself.
Oh, good one.
So this is level 3. reflection.
Ooh.
So how does one earn your vulnerability, and how can someone earn more if they haven't?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I just feel like I'm just such an open book, hence why I have a podcast. I'm not shy about like saying my like opinions or experiences, because it's like I feel like throughout my whole life I was so closed off. Yeah. And like I wish I had somebody to like tell me like X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not for the sake of like, oh, this is what happened to her, that's gonna happen to me, but just like food for thought almost.
Right.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
So for like me, well, I asked the question.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
But I think for me, it's like the only reason why I want to speak up is I think it's just like so different. I like am not vulnerable to anybody because I'm very scared of someone having that power. Like, I guess I just don't trust people. But like for me, it's like you will only get that once I am like fully confident in you, you know, because sometimes you just think that maybe it's either like a really good relationship or like time-wise that you totally are like open and everything, and then that person kind of can use that against you. And I think like I don't just like knowing that someone has the power to use something that I maybe shared vulnerably to use it against me. So I think it just really depends. And I don't know, I guess it's just my intuition when I know that I like can trust you. But I mean, that just doesn't come as in like, hello, okay. Like, I'm just always thought, okay, like who do I want to give the power of knowing who I am? Because God forbid you like snap at me, I don't want you to have that against me at all. So if I'm vulnerable to you, like these girls, they're real. I love them.
For me, it's like I will be vulnerable with you if I can feel hurt around you without being judged or without you giving me some sort of advice. And if you can just let me feel what I'm feeling without wanting to correct it, because I feel like so many times I've been vulnerable with people and it just makes them uncomfortable. Yeah. Because they don't want to accept that like I have feelings too. So I think it's just that.
Yeah, like not all the time you're being vulnerable for them to fix it.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what I mean? We just want you to listen sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
men.
Yeah.
Or like even like when people give unsolicited advice all the time, you know, like sometimes I mean I get it. You have like a good heart and you want to. For sure. Like, but sometimes I think you gotta read the room, you know? Like sometimes that person just needs you to sit there and let them just go through the motions and just like give them a hug if they feel comfortable or whatever, you know? Because sometimes when you just try to give advice, you're kind of like, that's not what I need right now.
Yeah. And sometimes it comes off of like making the problem about you. And you wouldn't want to invalidate somebody's like situations by like making it about yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I agree. I don't know, it's tough for me to answer that question because, I don't know, I'm pretty vulnerable. I guess the moment that I'm, like, openly expressing, like, how I'm really feeling instead of compartmentalizing, I guess it's when, like what y'all have said already, like, when you know that they're just going to listen and hear you out instead of providing a solution or being so quick to fix it or try to fix it. Yeah. Other than that, I'm an open book.
I'm the problem. Just kidding. That's why you gotta have a good circle, y'all.
Yeah. I also feel like almost as if I'm being vulnerable to you and if I'm sharing like something to you, that means that I've accepted it, and so like there's no reason for me to be afraid of like you holding against something, because it's like I heard this one saying is like, you can't expose me if I expose myself. Oh. You know what I mean? Like you can't really hold that against me if I told you or if it's public knowledge. You know what I mean? So just tell your truth and be unapologetic about that.
Which is why we have a podcast.
Yeah, that's my perception of it.
Exactly.
Okay, so my question is level 2 connection. So if you could get to know someone in your life on a deeper level, who would it be and why? So anyone.
Ooh. That's a hard question.
Right? Yeah, let's ponder.
Someone in your life.
I know.
That's not somebody that used to be in your life.
Oh.
Don't know you.
I think mine would be my mom, because I feel like our relationship is not very open and vulnerable at all. I feel like we're both like very, like, we butt heads a lot. We don't understand each other a lot. But like there's just so much that I feel like even if I live with her, like I don't know anything about you.
Right.
And it's because of that like perfectionist mindset. Like I don't feel like she feels like she can like fuck up, you know?
Right.
And so like a lot of the times, like growing up, like I've noticed that she has trouble opening up her perception and like seeing other people's perceptions. Like it's just her, like it's just her and her feelings, and like she doesn't understand how other people can feel a different way. And like I've noticed that because I've seen it in myself before, and I've like had to catch it. And so I guess I just want to know like what had made her like that. And I feel like she had to be a mom at such a young age that like, you know, I feel like she's still figuring herself out. But like I would just still like to know like what goes on in that head, because like it makes no sense to me. Like, you know that meme where it's like the equations and stuff? I'm just like, what is going on with you? Like, I don't understand.
I generally don't know how to answer that question.
I think for me, I have two answers. One is my grandma. I would love to know her on a deeper level, because I think like throughout my life, I've had limited times where I was able to connect with her because of like limited English, or like not knowing Tagalog, you know. But I think I never asked questions. Like when I was young, I was just like, oh, there's grandma, you know, like, hi grandma, bye grandma, I'm gonna go play, you know. I've never had that like moment where I was just like how are you really doing, or like how was this, like how do you feel about that, you know what I mean? And I think like at least from where I come from, like my background is like we just assume like this is what they want. Like our grandmas will go like to this person's house, that person's house, without like really like thinking, like considering like what do you really want, or like how are you feeling, like do you feel okay just being in like your room all the time, you know what I mean? I've never really had that like deep connection with her, but it's not to say that I don't feel like a deep connection with her. Like I do, and I cherish her, but I want to like make that for while she's still with me, like to get to know her, you know what I mean? But that also like goes to like also my dad. Like I want to get to know my dad on a deeper level. I think like growing up, me and my dad would like butt heads a lot. And I think there's so many different roles. Like I am the firstborn. I'm a girl. Like his first child. So it's obviously he wants to like have like me to turn out like perfect and like not be in trouble, or like. And it's not to say I was like a troubled kid necessarily, but like he would also be away to work. You know, like there was segments of my life where he wasn't there. And whenever he came back, I was always a different age, going through a different time in my life. And, like, he was in denial of that ever happening because he didn't get to experience it with me. You know? And so, like, growing up, it was always hard for us to, like, be on the same page about certain stuff. But I think, like, present, like, now, he's been a lot better at, like, trying to really understand that he can't control everything, and for him not to be in control, that doesn't mean that like things are going bad, you know. So he's being a little bit more accepting of that, but it's still like I don't know. I feel that there's still always going to be that like you're my first baby, you know. I still need to protect you. So it's always going to be a learning process. But I would love to like get to know my dad on a deeper level where he doesn't have to feel like he needs to have his guard up with me. Because I've seen him put it down for like my cousins, my older cousins. They are like, "Your dad's so chill. Like he's like, so awesome. He's like the cool uncle." And I'm like, "Where are you getting that from?" I don't get it. But you know, yeah. Like I would love for him to like just be vulnerable with me. So, yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Now you have some video pictures to look at, to listen in on. But thanks again for tuning in, and thanks for sending in your questions. Please don't forget to leave us a 5-star review.
5 stars
10
only.
if you can.
Yes.
5 stars preferred. But yeah, till next time. Bye.
Bye.